Now, welcome back to WeAreIowa Live. We're talking everything local, and we found somebody here local. We met her many years ago. She is the smartest person that we know when it comes to keeping yourself secure, your privacy secure. She is the privacy professor. She is Rebecca Harold, and we're going to talk about things. If you have a smartphone, folks, you're going to want to pay attention to the next 6-7 minutes. So
Great.
Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed coming. And after my last visit with you, I got a lot of questions about a recent show that showed an investigative report.
Right.
And in it, they said, all you need is someone's phone number to be able to hack them.
Right.
And that concerned a lot of people. So this was through Signaling System 7, or SS7. And I wanted to kind of clear up maybe some of the concerns about that, because what they gave on the show, it had the good information. It was accurate, but they kind of glossed over the fact that you actually have to have access within this SS7 network in order to be able to hack someone based on with their phone number. Now, so what is SS7?
Yes.
Well, this is a networking protocol for telephone systems that was made way back in 1975. So back then, they were thinking, and they were just getting started with mobile phones and all the phone systems. So they needed a way to keep track of who is calling whom for billing purposes, right?
Okay.
And not only that, but it was also to allow for people who are in one telephone network to be able to communicate with another.
Okay.
So this is kind of like your virtual personal operator. So remember Lily Tomlin
Yes.
hooking up people and ringy dingy? Well, this is the digital version of Lily Tomlin, only it's SS7. So you have to have access into this network. You have to be given access into it. For that investigative report, the folks that demonstrated the hack were given access into
to the network.
Yes.
Because it made it look like they could just dial the phone number up, and if
Yes.
you downloaded something on your phone, they could turn your camera on, they could turn the microphone on without you even knowing
and they made it look like it was easy to hack.
Yeah.
This
Yes.
SS7. Now, if this was created in 1975, don't you think we should be updating
You
the
would
system?
think, you would think. So they made this back then, and of course back then, they didn't worry about a lot of other people having mobile phones. I
We
mean,
didn't know about computers in your pocket back then.
right, well, and they weren't even using them like that. They were big bags
Right.
that
Bag
they lugged
phones,
along.
yeah.
Yeah. So they haven't updated them because, well, think about how beneficial this is for some folks who want to do investigations. So for like government agencies that want to know what people are saying who might be on the terrorist list, if they can get in and use this vulnerability within SS7, they can
right into it,
listen
yeah.
and record all of those. They can tell locations through the SS7. But this is completely separate from a Wi-Fi network. So that's something important to understand. Now, in that report that I watched, they were talking about both Wi-Fi vulnerabilities and also this SS7. So it made it sound like it was
It's kind of all the same.
Yeah, yeah. So I want folks to understand that this SS7, it's completely different, and it is something that has this vulnerability. And it is possible that somebody could use social engineering to get into the network and be able to pretend like they're a valid phone service that needs to have access into this. But it's not something that just anybody can do.
Okay.
Now you
Good
still,
to know.
yeah. So you still have to worry about your Wi-Fi. But if you are concerned that maybe you're someone who might be targeted, because this is a vulnerability that people, if they had access to SS7, they might want to target people who were the heads of big corporations because they'd have intellectual property, or maybe they want to target someone else based upon, tracking them, doing some sort of investigation. So there are a few things that you can do because it's inherent within the way the phone system works that this vulnerability is. So you have to add on some other things to be able to not allow for this type of
Some
snooping.
filters?
Well, kind of, yeah. So we have our good old apps. So now we have encrypted apps that you can get, and a lot of them are free, and this will keep those on the SS7 network from being able to eavesdrop on your texting messages, not on the phone, conversation, but texting. And in fact, BlackBerry Messenger, you hear that and you're like, BlackBerry? Well, actually, they have a really good free app, and it works on more than just BlackBerry.
Oh, it does,
It works
really?
on basically all types
Let's
of
write this
systems.
one down here. What are we talking about?
Yeah, so
BlackBerry
just BlackBerry
Messenger,
Messenger.
okay.
So you look up that and you can download it. There's another one also called Telegram, and it's pretty good too, and it works on generally all types of systems. So that's just for texting.
And
Now,
that saves people from watching what you're doing.
they can't read
They
your
can't
text
read your
messages.
text. Okay.
Now also, you might want to consider, instead of talking on the native phone line, you might consider using a voice over IP or VoIP type of utility. And there's actually a free utility that will convert your phone conversations to VoIP, and it's called Zoiper. Zoiper. So, and if any of your viewers want to get any of this information, they can send me a message and I'll send it to them. But Zoiper actually then converts and takes your voice communications, passes it through IP types of networking. So this SS7 cannot then listen.
Can't interrupt you. Then.
Right.
Okay.
And then if you really want to go hardcore security and privacy, you can get a black phone. So now there's up to black phone 2. And this is basically encrypting everything, very secure. It costs around $1,000 to
Whoa.
$1,500.
Out of our price range.
And then you have to get your phone service through them because they're the ones that's
Right.
running it. But it was co-created by Phil Zimmerman.
Sure.
Phil Zimmerman created Pretty Good Privacy, or PGP, which is an encryption technology from the 1990s. It was one of the things that inspired the Clipper chip back then, which was an initiative to get the back door into encryption in the 90s. And here we
Wow.
are again, deja vu, right?
Right.
All right,
So-
but there's things to keep yourself more secure. And one of the things that you've told us about since we first met you, one of the things to keep you more secure are passwords.
Yes, and I want to give a personal data hygiene tip. So last week on May 5th, it was World Password Day. So there's actually a website, worldpassword.org. Let me make sure I got that right. No. Passwordday.org, passwordday.org.
Okay.
You go there, and this is how hot it is for password security. Betty White made 4 videos about good passwords. If you go to passwordday.org, you can watch those videos, and they're great. So I encourage everyone, as part of your personal data hygiene, make sure you practice good password.
It's a pain in the neck. We know it's a pain in the neck, but it's something that you really must do.
Yes, it's a part of life today, in our digital world.
Now, how
So-
many times have you had your Twitter account or your Facebook account hacked in the past 6 months?
I'm blessed that that doesn't happen often, knock on something. But I think it helps if
Yeah.
you do work on those passwords and make them so they're not so easily.
Yeah, I had the Twitter
yeah.
one hacked twice in the past 6 months.
Well, and do not use the same passwords for social media, like Facebook and Twitter, that you use for banking and financial. It
Right.
should be completely separate, and definitely don't use your work password for your social media or your own personal financial either. Keep them separate.
Tons
So-
of information as always. Now, people want to ask you questions
Yes.
or get a hold of you and find out what you have. How can they do so?
They can go to my website at privacyprofessor.org, and there's actually a place where you can submit questions. And I got a lot of questions last time, and I'm going to get to those, on some upcoming shows because
Okay.
they're
Nice.
great questions. So submit your questions, and hopefully we can get them covered. So you can go there, and I will compile them. And we've got some really interesting topics that people have submitted.
And
Nice.
you want to stay up on top of the latest when it comes to security, Privacy Prof on
Yes,
Twitter.
on Twitter. Yep, I put out little tidbits every now and then.
There you go. Wonderful. Good job as always.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank